I took the job because I needed the money. That's how these things always start, right? No drama, no moral compromise, just debt. I was working as a courier for this under-the-table logistics outfit that specialized in late-night deliveries. No uniforms, no questions, just an app and a route. One night, just after 1 a.m., I got a request that felt off from the start. The app dinged with a delivery labeled High Priority, Confidential. No business name, just coordinates, a time window, and a single instruction. Place inside the screen door. Do not knock. I almost declined, but then I saw the payout. $400. For a 10-minute drive. My rent was due in 3 days. The house was in a forgotten corner of the city, past the industrial zone where the streetlights stopped working. Ellis Lane. I'd never been there, but the GPS found it, a dead-end street with one house at the end, shrouded by tall, bare trees. The place didn't look abandoned. Not exactly. Just paused. Like someone had left in the middle of living. The porch light buzzed weakly. The lawn was patchy with frost. I remember this old kid's bicycle, rusted and bent, lying on its side near the mailbox. There was no number on the house, just peeling paint and a screen door hanging slightly ajar. I checked the time. 2:17 a.m. Right on schedule. I stepped up onto the porch. The boards creaked under me in a way that felt intentional. The package under my arm was light, but I held it like it might break. The screen door groaned when I touched it, just enough to widen the gap and slide the parcel through. And that's when I saw it. Through the small glass pane of the inner door, just for a moment, a man standing at the end of a hallway, far back, barely lit. He was too still, like someone who'd been standing there a long time. Watching. He didn't move. Not even to blink. I backed away, keeping my eyes on the door, then turned and walked, calmly, I told myself, back to the car. I didn't hear the screen door shut. But when I looked back, it was closed. When I opened the app to mark the job as complete, a new message appeared instantly. Do not return to this address. That was it. I thought that was the end of it. Weird job, easy money. A story I'd maybe tell once or twice if someone asked about strange deliveries. I slept badly that night though, kept thinking I'd forgotten something. The next evening, I found the package again. It was sitting on my doormat. Same label. Same brittle red string. Except now, there was a new tag on the side. It was handwritten and smeared slightly, like it had gotten damp. It read, "You left something behind." I stood there for a long time, holding the package like it was a riddle I wasn't equipped to solve. I hadn't opened it before, hadn't even really touched the contents. I hadn't forgotten anything. But the note. "You left something behind." It felt accusatory. Like it knew something I didn't. I left the box in my car overnight, unsure what to do. By morning, it was gone. I didn't tell anyone. It felt like the kind of thing that gets worse if you talk about it, like saying it out loud would give it more shape. Instead, I tried to forget. 2 days passed. 3. No more packages. No more notes. But I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the hallway again. That man, still as furniture, his face unreadable in the dark. Each night, the dream got longer. I started at the door. Slid the package in. Looked up. The man was closer. Not walking. Just nearer. By the 5th night, I started driving by the house. Not to go in. I just needed to know it was still there. That it hadn't changed. That it wasn't watching me the way I couldn't stop watching it. The house was always dark. No lights, no movement. But the porch light, that flickering yellow bulb, was always on. And the screen door? Always shut. One night, just before 3 a.m., I drove past and saw something that stopped me cold. A delivery van. Not mine. No logos. Engine off, lights off, parked too neatly in front of the house. I pulled over a block down and waited. No one came out. After 10 minutes, I drove back, slow enough to look inside. The van was empty. except for the driver's seat. There was a package on it. Red string. Same handwriting. I didn't stop again after that. A week later, I got a call from the logistics company. Not the app, an actual person. A guy with a flat voice who didn't introduce himself. He said, "You were recently assigned a delivery to Ellis Lane." I didn't respond. Just waited. He continued, "If anything from that job is returned to you again, do not keep it. Do not open it. Leave it somewhere public, with lots of cameras. A post office drop box. A gas station. Anywhere. Do you understand?" I asked who he was. He hung up. I thought it was over again. I really did. Until last week. I was doing a normal run in daylight, middle of the city. Office building. Drop-off, signature required. The receptionist buzzed me in. As I stepped inside, I froze. There was a picture on the wall. An employee photo grid, the kind with headshots and job titles. Bottom row, far right, the man from the hallway. No doubt. The same off-kilter posture. The eyes too wide. His name was partially scratched off, but I caught enough to know. I asked the receptionist how long he'd worked there. She frowned. "He doesn't," she said. "Not anymore." I asked what happened. She hesitated. "Disappeared. Maybe 5 months ago. Left his van running. Package on the seat." I left before I could ask more. That night I couldn't sleep. Around 2:30 a.m., I checked my front door. There was no package. But the screen door was open. Only for a moment, I swear, but I saw it swing gently, as if someone had just stepped through it. I stood there for a long time, staring at the gap. Then I closed it. Locked it. Double-checked the windows. Laid down fully dressed. I don't dream anymore. Not because it stopped. I just don't let myself sleep. And every so often, when I check the app, just to see, I find the job still listed in my completed history. The timestamp always says 2:24 a.m. And the coordinates? They've changed. Just slightly. But they're getting closer to my building. I keep telling myself I'll quit. Delete the app. Throw my phone in the river. But somehow I never do. And that porch light, I swear I've seen one just like it, 2 buildings down, flickering behind a broken blind. It's waiting for something. Maybe for me to sleep. Maybe for me to deliver what I left behind. I deliver parcels for a medical supply company that services private clients. Mostly wealthy, mostly discreet. We're told not to ask questions. We don't wear uniforms. The packages are sealed, labeled only with initials, and most of the time, we don't even go inside. Just a signature, and we're gone. Last winter, I got an overnight request from a building I hadn't seen before. Mid-rise, downtown, just far enough from everything else to feel displaced. The pickup instructions were precise. Package was to be collected from Unit 5C, between 3:15 and 3:30 a.m. No earlier, no later. No contact with the tenant. The building itself was strange. Old but not in a charming way. The lobby smelled like old plastic and mothballs. No cameras. The elevator had one of those fake brass doors with the cage inside, the kind you have to pull shut manually. The elevator panel was what caught me first. No 5th floor. It went from 1 to 4, then 6. I actually laughed a little, thinking it was a mistake. Then I double-checked the order. Unit 5C. I almost left. But the job paid triple, and I had nothing better to do at that hour. I took the stairs. Each floor had that weird institutional feel, linoleum tile, fluorescent buzz doors with warped brass numbers. No one around. When I reached the 4th floor, the air changed. Not temperature, just weight. Everything was still. Even my footsteps felt wrong, like they were too quiet. There was no door labeled 5. Just a short landing with a fire exit and a plain gray door without a number. It had a keypad beside it, already blinking green. Unlocked. I should have turned around. I know that. But I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The hallway was perfectly silent. Too clean. No scuff marks, no mail slots, no signs of life. Just a straight line of identical doors, unmarked except for one near the end, 5C. It was slightly ajar. I stood there for a long time. Long enough to hear my own heartbeat. Then I knocked softly, half hoping no one would answer. The door creaked wider. Inside was a narrow, dark hallway. No lights. No furniture. Just faint shadows and the smell of antiseptic. The kind of smell that clings to hospitals and old bandages. I said hello? My voice barely echoed. Then I saw the box. Sitting on the floor about 6 feet in, neatly sealed and addressed to me. Literally, my name in red marker on the side. I didn't move. My legs didn't want to. Then I heard something deeper in the apartment. A soft dragging sound. Like a foot, or a bag being slowly pulled across a tile floor. I took one step back. The sound stopped. I took another. Then, clearly, from just inside the hallway, I heard a voice. Not loud, not threatening. Just a whisper. You came too early. I turned and ran. Down the hallway, through the gray door, down 4 flights of stairs without stopping. I didn't breathe until I hit the sidewalk. The next morning, I checked the delivery app. The job was marked complete. And below it in red, do not return. That should have been it. But a week later, I found the same box inside the trunk of my car. No note. No name. Just a red marker line across the lid, like a mouth shut tight. I didn't tell anyone about the box. What was I supposed to say? A building with no 5th floor gave me a package addressed to me and then whispered at me through the dark. I'd barely believe it myself if I hadn't driven with that thing in my trunk for 3 days, too scared to even touch it. I couldn't bring myself to open it. Not just because of what had happened, there was something wrong with the box itself. The weight felt uneven when I tried to lift it, like it was full of loose bones or small tools rolling against each other. It made the kind of sound you'd expect from something mechanical, but too soft, like it was trying not to be heard. The 4th night, I dreamed about the hallway. Not the real one. This was different. It was longer, too long, like it stretched past the edges of the building. There were no lights. The walls were sweating. I remember looking down and realizing I was barefoot, the floor cold and wet beneath me. And then I saw them. People, or the shapes of people, standing silently outside the unmarked doors. Facing them. Not knocking. Not moving. Just waiting. I woke up with my fists clenched and my sheets soaked in sweat. My phone said 3:23 a.m. The exact time I was supposed to make the delivery. I got up and went to the car. I needed the box gone. Needed it out of my orbit, even if it meant opening it and just dumping whatever was inside. But when I opened the trunk, it was empty. Not just empty, clean. Like the whole interior had been scrubbed. I checked my seats, my floorboards, even the spare tire well. Nothing. The next night, I parked in a lit garage and checked the car before locking it. No box. No signs of break-in. Still, I couldn't sleep. I sat up all night in my kitchen, scrolling my delivery history. The floor 5 job was gone. Not marked as complete. Not archived. Deleted. No record of the delivery or of the client. That morning, I got a letter in the mail. Plain envelope. No return address. Inside was a single photograph, grainy, like it was printed from a security feed. It showed me standing in the hallway of 5C, holding the box. The angle was from inside the apartment. Behind me. I quit the job that day. Deleted the app. Changed my number. But things haven't stopped. I keep getting letters now. Always with photos. Some are of me at home, or driving, or just walking to the store. But some are different. Some are of places I've never been. Places I don't remember being. But I'm in them. Always with the box. Sometimes I'm just holding it. Sometimes I'm setting it down in front of a door. Sometimes I'm standing over it with a knife. Last night, someone slid a package under my door. I didn't open it. I haven't touched it. But this morning, I woke up to another photo in my mailbox. This one was different. It showed me sleeping. In my bed. And the box was sitting beside me on the floor, open. Nothing inside. Just a faint, wet outline on the wood where something had been resting. And a trail of small, evenly spaced prints. Like fingers. Crawling away. I work for a meal delivery service. Not the flashy kind with cute branding or hot bags. This is a smaller operation, direct contracts with private clients. Sometimes long-term arrangements. Sometimes we don't even see the customer. That was the case with apartment 10B. I got the order on a Tuesday. Client requests daily meal drop-off. No interaction. Use back stairwell. Leave on bench beside door. Do not knock. It wasn't unusual. We got weird requests all the time, people with anxiety, trauma, rich clients who didn't want to see the help. I accepted the gig. It paid well and was scheduled for 2 weeks. Same time every night, 8:30 p.m. The building was old but looked recently renovated. Gentrified. Beige paneling, fake wood floors, cameras that didn't blink. 10B was at the far end of the top floor, accessed by a secondary staircase that didn't connect to the main lobby. Felt private. Too private. The first night, I followed the instructions. No one around. The hallway carpet was oddly damp, though. Like it had been cleaned, but not dried. The door had a mail slot, but it was sealed shut with tape. There was a small wooden bench to the right, as mentioned. I placed the bag down, took a photo for confirmation, and left. I didn't hear a sound from behind the door. That part didn't bother me. What did bother me came the next night. Same time, same routine, but when I reached the hallway, the bag I dropped off yesterday was still there. Untouched. I thought maybe I had the wrong day. Checked the app. No mistake. It had been logged and timestamped. Photo confirmed. But here it was, exactly where I left it. Food cold. Condensation beating on the inside of the container. Still, I dropped the second meal beside it. It became a pattern. Each night, the previous day's meal was still there. Untouched. Unopened. By the fifth night, the bench was nearly full. That's when I asked my dispatcher if there was an alternate contact for the client. She said no. The account was paid in advance and flagged as non-communicative by request. I asked what we were supposed to do if the food kept piling up. She paused and said, "If it's not being picked up, mark as complete. Client's responsibility." That felt wrong. I started to dread going up there. It wasn't just the untouched food. It was the silence. The way the lights in that hallway always seemed a little too dim, no matter the time. And that smell, subtle at first, like old water, but every night, it got stronger. On the seventh night, I noticed the change. The food bag from the first night was gone. Not moved. Gone. Every other bag was still there, but that one vanished. No note, no trace, just a space on the bench like it had never existed. I asked my dispatcher again. She checked the logs and said nothing had been updated. No signs of the order being retrieved. Just marked. Delivered. The next night, the second bag was gone. And the smell? Worse. It was sweet and metallic now, like someone had boiled pennies. I stood there longer than usual, hand hovering near the door. Then I heard it. Not footsteps. Not breathing. Just the soft clink of a fork on plastic. From inside 10B. I dropped the new bag and left without taking the photo. I told myself I was imagining it. I wanted to believe that. But when I got home, there was a message in the app. Just 4 words. Thank you. It's fresh. After that message, I stopped sleeping properly. It wasn't just the sound I'd heard or the bags disappearing one by one, it was the timing. Each bag vanished exactly 6 days after it was delivered. And each time, a new message followed. Always short. Always unsettling. Still warm. Texture better today. Don't change the carrots. I hadn't changed anything. I asked dispatch again if there was any contact for the client. I even offered to deliver a note myself, to make sure they were okay. She told me not to interfere. Some clients just need consistency. But that word, consistency, started crawling under my skin. This didn't feel like routine. It felt like ritual. By night 10, the hallway stank like an open drain. The carpet was soaked through. The remaining bags sagged, bloated and soft, like they'd been sitting in a greenhouse. I stood there, holding the new one, but I didn't want to set it down. That's when I saw the door move. Just a little. Not opening. Not even creaking. Just a tremor, like it was breathing. The mail slot, sealed with tape before, was clean now. Like it had never been taped. I backed away. Left the bag in the elevator. I didn't mark the drop-off. At home, I found another message. No app this time. Just a photo texted to my personal number. The bench. Freshly cleared. And a new note written in red marker on the wall above it. Your schedule is slipping. I threw up. I didn't go the next night. I turned off my phone, ignored the app. Blocked the number. Sat in my apartment, lights off, trying not to think. At 8:33 p.m., someone knocked on my door. 3 soft taps. No buzz from the intercom. No footsteps in the hall. I didn't move. Another knock. When I finally worked up the courage to look, the hallway was empty. But there was a meal bag on my welcome mat. One of ours. With my name on it. Same handwriting I'd seen on 10BS labels. Same red marker. I called dispatch. No answer. I drove to the building that night, just to see if anyone else was delivering. There were no lights on in the stairwell. The elevator was taped shut. When I climbed to the top floor, the door to 10B was gone. Not closed. Gone. Just smooth wall where the door had been. And the bench? Empty. I left. Permanently. Told dispatch I was done. Deleted the app, burned the meal bag on a patch of dirt behind my building. I didn't even open it. But something stuck. The messages haven't stopped. Now they come from random numbers. Emails I don't recognize. Scratched notes on my mailbox. Printed receipts slipped into my coat pocket. Always the same format. Too much pepper. Fish next time. You'll be back soon. Last night, I found a delivery thermal bag in my kitchen. One of ours. I haven't touched company equipment in weeks. Inside, there was a single plate. Clean. But the fork? Still warm. And on the back of the plate, etched so faintly I almost missed it, were the words. We eat what you give. I'm not delivering anymore. But somehow, I think I never really stopped. I used to bike courier in the city. Mostly documents, sometimes keys or hard drives, quick stuff, no questions. Most deliveries were routine, boring even, but one stood out so sharply that I still can't ride past the building without feeling like I'm being watched. It was late fall, overcast, just cold enough that you could see your breath. I'd been out all day when the job popped up, urgent, private delivery, downtown, to a woman named Lynn. The instructions were precise. Do not use elevator. Do not speak to anyone. Leave envelope in mailbox labeled 3C. Do not knock. Sounded paranoid, but not unheard of. Lawyers, divorcees, people hiding from someone. I accepted and rode over. The building was a narrow walk up, 3 stories, brick, wedged between 2 larger towers. I locked my bike and stepped inside. The interior felt wrong right away. Not dangerous. Not dirty. Just vacant. Too vacant. No buzzing from lights. No music. No TVs. No footsteps from upstairs. Just quiet. As if the place hadn't been lived in for years, despite the fresh paint and clean tile. The kind of quiet where you expect to hear breathing that isn't yours. The mailbox labeled 3C was on the wall near the stairs. No others were labeled. I slid the envelope in. That should have been it. But I noticed something then, something tiny, stupid even. There was another envelope already in 3C. Same size. Same seal. Same handwriting. And it was pushed almost all the way back, like someone had tried to hide it. I don't know why, but I reached in and nudged it forward. It wasn't addressed to Lynn. It was addressed to me. Full name. Same courier ID as on my delivery profile. No stamp. No sender. Just a note inside. Don't go upstairs. That was it. No explanation. No threat. But my hands went cold. Like the heat had been pulled out of my fingertips. I looked up the stairwell. Dark. Too dark for daytime. The hallway up there should have had a window. The building had 3 floors. The third should have been lit by skylight or something. But it was just black. I stepped back, ready to leave. Then I heard a door open above me. Very slowly. Hinges groaning like they hadn't moved in a long time. Then, a single, measured step. Not running. Not rushed. Like someone had just changed their mind and was now walking to greet me. I froze. Another step. Closer this time. Not on the 3rd floor. Between floors now. I didn't wait for the next one. I ran. Slammed the front door behind me, nearly tripped getting on my bike. I didn't look back. I didn't deliver the next job. Or the one after that. I logged off, went home, and sat in silence. That night, I got a message through the courier app. No name. No number. Just text. You were told. The next morning, I convinced myself I'd overreacted. Courier work messes with your head if you're not sleeping. Too many random addresses, weird late-night jobs, always moving. The note must have been a prank, I thought. Some other courier having fun. Or a paranoid tenant who watched too many true crime documentaries. I even told myself I misheard the steps. But the thing about fear, real fear, is that your body remembers before your brain does. And every time I closed my eyes, I felt it again. The way the building swallowed sound. The way the envelope was already waiting for me. I didn't go near that place for a week. Then the dispatch pinged me. Urgent reattempt, 3C, missed delivery. Double pay. I almost declined. I really did. But my account was flagged for inactivity. Rent was late. And curiosity, that sick, magnetic curiosity, was growing. I figured if I went during the day, it'd be different. Less haunted. It wasn't. The air was thicker. The silence more pronounced. I reached for the mailbox, and my hand trembled. Inside was another envelope. No name on this one. I hesitated. Then I pulled it out. Inside, a photo. Grainy. Black and white. It showed a stairwell, the stairwell. And in it, blurry but unmistakable, was me. Standing at the bottom. Head tilted. Looking up. Except I hadn't looked up. Not that first time. Not until I saw the photo. And then I did. The stairs were empty. But I saw something that hadn't been there before. A single shoe, resting on the top step. Facing down. I left without delivering the new envelope. I didn't even log the trip. Just went home and turned off everything. I didn't open the app for days. But it didn't matter. On the 3rd day, a courier envelope arrived at my apartment. Same seal. No return address. I stared at it for nearly an hour before opening it. Inside was another photo. This time, it was my apartment door. Taken from the hallway. From very close. The note beneath it said, 3 floors isn't far. That night, I pushed a chair under the doorknob and left the lights on. I didn't sleep. At 3:12 a.m., I heard footsteps in the stairwell. Measured. Unrushed. Just like before. They stopped outside my door. No knock. No movement. Just presence. I didn't breathe. Eventually they left. I think. But the next morning, taped to my door, was the final envelope. I don't remember opening it. I just remember what was inside. A key. No tag. No note. Just a key. Heavy. Cold. I left the city 2 days later. Deleted the app. Changed my number. Burned the key in a fire pit behind my cousin's cabin, miles from anything. It melted too fast. Now and then, I still check my mailboxes, physical, digital, even the spam folders, half expecting another envelope. So far, nothing. But I keep dreaming about the stairs. Always dark. Always silent. And the envelope waiting for me on the last step. Not sealed this time. Open. Empty. Except for one line, written on the inside flap. You'll come back when we call. I was subcontracted to deliver refrigeration units, small, portable ones, for medical couriers. I never asked what was inside. We weren't supposed to. The containers were sealed, coated, and temperature sensitive. Handle like blood, our supervisor always said. Most of the deliveries were same day, usually to labs, occasionally to private addresses. That was the part one hated. The private addresses? They always felt wrong. This one was to a second-floor apartment in an old, narrow house out in Eastborough. The instructions were simple. Deliver between 2 o'clock and 2:15 p.m. Use side entrance. Do not ring bell. Leave unit directly inside the hallway, on tile. Knock once and leave. I'd done plenty of these. But when I pulled up to the house, I got that internal tension, the gut brace I used to get when I lied as a kid. Something in the posture of the place. Like it was holding its breath. The front yard was immaculate, but completely silent. No wind. No insects. No motion in the windows. I followed the instructions. The side door opened with a soft push. No lock. Just a narrow hallway with faded wallpaper and a cold tile floor. I placed the unit down. Then I knocked once, as instructed. As I turned to leave, I heard it, a sound I couldn't quite process at first. A scraping. Not metal, not wood. Wet. Like something dense sliding across linoleum. Then a soft click. Followed by another. Like fingers tapping glass. I didn't wait. I shut the door and walked back to the van, trying to ignore the feeling that I'd just set a trap for myself. 2 hours later, I got a notification on the app. Delivery rejected. Reattempt required. That almost never happened. I checked the logs. The temperature had dropped mid-delivery, below the acceptable range. Impossible. I'd verified it. Logged the temp. Sealed the box. I'd even taken a photo on site. Still, the unit had to be picked up. The reattempt was scheduled for the next morning. Same time. Same place. But now the instructions had changed. Do not knock. Door will be unlocked. Enter hallway. Wait for buzzer. I called dispatch. Asked if the client had reported anything unusual. They said no. Just a standard reattempt. Probably a sensor issue, they said. Just follow the instructions. I didn't sleep that night. Next day, I arrived at the house at 2:03 p.m. Same silence. Same motionless curtains. The side door was already cracked open. I stepped inside. The hallway was darker this time. Colder. I don't mean it felt cold, I mean it was cold. The breath in your face kind of cold. The unit was where I left it. Except now, it was open. Not broken, not spilled. Just unlatched. And empty. No liner. No ice packs. No contents. I stared at it for a long time before realizing the wallpaper beside it was wet. Not stained, wet. Like condensation had formed in the shape of something that had leaned there. Pressed there. I backed out of the house without waiting for the buzzer. Outside, I tried to call dispatch again. No answer. Just a single message a few minutes later. Unit retrieved. Delivery reattempt in progress. I checked the address. It had changed. But the name was the same. Different house. Same format. And the new instructions? Pickup required. Bring empty unit. The new address was across the river, in a neighborhood I didn't recognize. GPS took me past the edge of the grid, into rows of houses that looked half-renovated, half-condemned, like someone had started a project and just given up. It was colder out there, too. Not weather cold. Stiller somehow. The house was squat, gray, no markings on the door. Same instructions: use the side entrance. Enter quietly. Leave the empty unit. Wait for the buzzer. The door was unlocked. I stepped into a nearly identical hallway. Same tile, same stale chemical smell, same impossible stillness. The light overhead buzzed for a second, then cut out. I stood in the dark, unit in hand, waiting for a sound that didn't come. No buzzer. No knock. No indication anyone was on the other side of the hall. Just cold. I set the empty box down. And then, for reasons I still can't explain, I reached out and touched the wallpaper. It was damp again. But not from moisture, from something thicker. There were fingerprints along the wall. Too many. Pressed close together, like someone had been standing there for hours with their hands flat against the surface. They were small. Child-sized, maybe? Or just too thin. I turned to leave. The door was closed. I didn't hear it shut. Didn't feel air move. It was just shut. And then came the sound. Not the buzzer. Not a knock. A hum. Low, deep, mechanical. Like something powering on in the walls. I felt it in my stomach before I heard it. A pressure vibrating behind my eyes. And then, clinks. Rhythmic. Metal touching metal. Like something sorting itself. Then silence. I opened the door. Outside, it was snowing. It hadn't been snowing when I went in. The ground was already covered. The sky dimmed. I ran to the van and drove without entering the delivery code. When I got home, my app was locked. Not disabled, locked. A red banner across the top. Pending review? I called the office. The number had been disconnected. That night, I checked the box in the back of the van, just to be sure. The latch was sealed again. Tight. But something rattled inside. I drove to the nearest lake. I walked out onto the dock and dropped the whole thing in. It sank faster than I thought it would. But the next morning, it was back. Not in my van. Not at my door. In my fridge. Neatly placed between cartons of milk, lid glistening with fresh condensation. It wasn't empty. I didn't open it. But I could hear something inside. Not moving. Breathing. Since then, the deliveries have stopped. But new boxes show up anyway. One in the office break room. One under the sink. One in my trunk again. Always cold. Always sealed. No addresses now. Just my name. Every time I try to throw one away, I find another, closer. More insistent. One appeared in my passenger seat while I was driving. The last one had no markings at all. Just a message carved into the side. You were supposed to carry it. I don't work anymore. I keep the lights on at night. I sleep with the fridge unplugged. But still, every morning, it hums back to life. Every morning, there's a box inside. Colder than before. And the hum in the walls? It's not just the fridge anymore. It's in me.